Hello everyone, welcome back to another gorgeous episode of Things That I Wish My Mum Had Told Me.
Yay!
With me, your host, Emma Samson-Hill.
And me, your other host, Clara Hermit.
Exactly. And
Exactly.
guess what, guys? We've got a vino.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Bosh. That's why we like our new home studio, because
Well, sorry, go on.
they gave us a bottle of wine.
They did give us a bottle of wine. But obviously the last video they saw, or one of the other ones, we were in a different studio.
Yeah.
But that was just a different room in the exact same building.
Yeah. So we're just going to take whichever room we can go and mix it up sometimes.
This one is beautiful, I'm not going to lie. Like, it's
beautiful.
set in the vibes. The sofa is plush.
Yeah.
We've got the wine.
Our faces are up there.
Our face on the wall. It's a life we deserve to be living.
Yeah, plants, nice walls and
they've been spray painted them plants.
Incredible, isn't it?
It's amazing. It's gorgeous.
High
it's
quality
lovely.
tech.
Yeah.
And I think this is the studio that, you know, is perfect for the embodiment of the theme of this episode.
And today's episode
Sorry,
is...
I just stopped talking.
The theme of today's episode is how to stop giving a fuck and become your authentic self.
Most authentic self.
Yeah, that was a bit of a tongue twister, but I can see your Invisalign glimmering at me.
Yeah, whilst I'm drinking wine.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, dentists, don't watch me do this. But anyway, I've got Invisalign and I started after we recorded last time. So that's been a fun journey, but that's not what this episode is about.
Exactly.
Shout out to Bespoke Smile though, because they've been looking after me. I love those guys.
There was nothing wrong with your smile.
No,
well, it's not about that, is it? It's about
no,
you
the dentist is called Bespoke Smile. But my bottom jaw, do you know what it is? I'll be really honest with you. More than aesthetics is great, but also my bottom jaw was so cramped that it was difficult to clean between my teeth. All my gums were bleeding all the time.
Okay.
I don't know why we're talking about this on the podcast. But anyway, now that I've got more space between my teeth, it's so easy to floss. All of that stopped. I've got better gum health, everything.
I've got a permanent retainer behind my teeth because I had braces. So they put a wire behind my top and bottom, so I struggle to floss. But the last time I went to the dentist, she told me she could remove it for me.
But then will your teeth change?
No, they won't, because they've already moved with it on anyway.
Well, you have to have a nighttime retainer.
No, but I've had this since I was like 14.
Okay. Your teeth
it's
look
really
great.
not a big deal. Thanks.
And moving swiftly on from teeth to our most authentic selves.
Yeah.
Here we go. Woo, woo, woo.
We're delirious as always. We're always delirious.
We are a bit delirious, but I think it's like it's genuinely like quite exciting.
Excited.
Yeah. When we record the podcast and we kind of get swept up in that energy.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you know, by the way, this is like a one glass of wine that we've had. It's not like we're
we're not
really
drunk. This is like,
But you know, you just do it. It's exciting to see each other, to be here doing a podcast. We really enjoy it. So
I love being with you.
Thanks, babes. Me too.
With you.
With
Ding.
you. When I'm with you.
Exactly.
With you. Anyway.
Exactly.
So we wanted to talk about being our most authentic selves, because I think, and maybe you can tell me like whether you think I'm wrong or right, but I feel like the most authentic you that you are. First of all, I think when I was younger, I didn't really know who I was. And there was parts of me that I was ashamed of, or I didn't want people to know about, and all of that kind of stuff. So all of that kind of, you know, had to be got rid of first. But as in the most authentic me, I think it changes and gets more emboldened all the time.
Mm-hmm.
As I kind of like really allow myself to find out who I am and express myself more and, you know, enjoy that expression. Even with all of that said, as, you know, as authentic as I am and I show up, the not giving a part, sometimes I really feel it. And I'm like, I can say or do, you know, the most authentic things to me and I don't care what anyone else thinks. But there are other times, normally when, you know, someone sends me a horrible comment or whatever, where I'm like, ouch, that hurt. So the not giving a part, I don't know. I'm sure there are people who genuinely don't give a there are, but you know, I'm not sure if I'm that person yet.
I don't think anyone is void of not giving a
Even Andrew Tate.
Like, even if they will never say, even if they say, I don't give a what anyone thinks about me, there will be one comment that maybe on the wrong day or whatever, it's going to hit you at some point somewhere down the line. Doesn't mean that it's always going to bother you and you're always going to care what people think. But I don't think anyone will ever complete the highest state of not giving a f***ness.
Yeah.
But you can definitely make huge leaps and bounds. I think you're not human if what someone says about you doesn't affect you sometimes. It doesn't have to affect you all the time. But I just feel like it depends how you're feeling on the day.
Yeah, you're right. I think like depends where your mindset is, where you are emotionally. All of those kind of things impact like how much someone's comment's going to hit you. And you know what I think is funny? And, you know, I've kind of looked at stuff a lot and had been experiencing negative comments for years. I'm sure like you have as well. And the ones that really hurt, that it's not like they're not things that I haven't thought myself. Even if I don't believe them, they've crept into my mind at some point. You know, like when I'm on a day where I'm doubting myself, or, you know, maybe I'm falling back into some old patterns, or my limiting beliefs are really showing up. I will maybe have thought those things about myself. It's not my general state, and, you know, I don't actually believe those things anymore. But I certainly think that sometimes, you know, those are the comments that burn. Because someone once said to me, it's like, if you were walking along the street and someone came up to you and they were like, oh my God, like your blue hair looks awful on you. Like it really looks horrible. I don't know why you've done that. You look stupid. You would probably walk away from that interaction thinking, my hair's blonde. Like what are you even talking about? However, if someone came up to you and said, blonde hair really doesn't suit you, like you look shit with blonde hair.
I'd be like,
but
who the f*** are you talking to? Deep down, I'd be like,
But because you actually have blonde hair. Do you see what I'm saying? So it's like, I feel like the ones that cut are the ones that, not that you are those things, but they're things that you've actually probably thought about yourself.
Yeah.
In a moment of weakness.
Yeah. I think like we've probably both been online. We've definitely both had our fair share of hurtful comments. And the ones, like someone calling me fat, I could not care less. Someone calling me shamu, someone calling me a whale, I literally could not care less. Because yes, I'm fat, ha ha hee hee. What's so funny about that? You know what I mean? But someone being like, you know what hits me? When someone makes comments about my friends or about my family or just something like deep.
Yeah.
Something deep that's like deep, not physical. Physical things don't bother me.
Yeah.
But when you're hitting something about my character, that's when I'm upset now.
Yeah.
But I had to learn to not take all that shit so personally because at the end of the day, like we spoke about this before, but people, just because they see parts of your life online doesn't mean they fully know you or
you don't know me,
the
bro.
nuance or know anything really.
Exactly.
They're just gathering what they can from the information that you have given.
Yeah. But the other thing to add to that is the assumptions that you make about people and the decisions you make about people is your perception of those things. So, you know, you could have access to exactly the same information about somebody as someone else, and you both walk away with completely different opinions because you're going to be viewing that person through the lens of your experiences, your thoughts, your beliefs, your programming, all of that. Yeah. So there's all of that goes into it, and it is very nuanced. And I guess, like, you know, I'm kind of the same. I was reading some comments earlier to you about some of the things that people have left under my videos about being like, you know, 30, my age and single.
Yeah.
And like, it's actually hilarious. Like to me now, those things are so funny because it's just like, to me, if you're saying that, oh, you must be sad and lonely and cry yourself to sleep every night, that's you, like you're projecting.
That sounds like you, babe.
Like how you know, like that's funny to me because I know it's so far from the truth, and I just think, yeah, it's meaningless because you don't know anything about me. And I've started to, you know, I've really started to come to terms with the fact that there is a lot of times it's just not even worth being offended by people, and it's not even worth interacting with certain people because they haven't come to learn. They haven't come to try and see a different perspective. They haven't even come to listen to you. They've just come to, you know, make themselves feel better in some kind of way by being horrible to somebody. And let's be really honest. I know for a fact that you and I, in all the years that social media has been available and that we've been using social media, have never once in our lives left a negative comment about somebody, ever. I might scroll through the thing and think, oh my God, this person is, you know, I don't enjoy their content or I don't like it. I'm never leaving a negative comment. I just keep on like, why would I?
Just keep it to myself.
But why do I need
Or
to?
if I even think anything bad, I'm going to keep it to myself.
You're going to waste your time and energy. That's what I think is so funny. People will come online and be like, oh, you know, like, you don't know what you're missing out on in life because you haven't got kids, you're never going to be happy, or whatever it is that people are saying. I'm like, what? But you're happy making negative comments under someone else's post.
You know what, though? Moreover,
Make it make sense.
If I'm scrolling and I see something and I think something negative about them, or I have a judgmental opinion about them, I usually go, whoa, that was weird. Why are you acting like that? Why do you feel like that? I question myself on why I even had that thought arise, because what the has it got to do with me?
But that's because you're super self-aware. Like, but it's also like, what is it about them that's triggering me?
Yeah.
Like, what is
Literally,
about
though.
what they're saying or doing that's
Literally.
triggering me and that's going to take my peace from me?
Mm-hmm.
No, sir. So I think there's that. And I think that, you know, like existing online, which some people do and some people don't, you know, you do have to deal with that. But in terms of like this idea of authentically being the version of you that you are right now, which, by the way, everyone, is going to change. Like, I feel like there are so many things in my life that I have been a hypocrite about because I didn't have the knowledge or the perspective or the level of understanding that I had later on in life to be like, oh, shit, about certain things.
Yeah.
So,
that's,
you know,
good, though.
Yeah, no, that's
like,
growth. That's growth. We should aim to be hypocrites.
But I think me and you live in a very specific kind of bubble. And obviously, like, not everyone is going to be subject to people's opinions online and whatnot.
Yeah.
But I also think my brain's doing that thing again, babe.
Where it just stops.
Yeah, where it just absolutely stops mid-sentence and I make a fool out of myself.
No, you're not making a fool out of yourself at all. And not everyone does exist in that bubble. But what we all exist in is, you know, sometimes feeling like we've all done it, where we have to change things about ourselves or not be 100% ourselves, or maybe we don't feel comfortable to, because, and I'm sure we've spoken about this before, but our early childhood experiences really shape how we show up as adults hugely. Even if that doesn't make particular logical sense, it's not supposed to, because that's not how the brain necessarily works. So even though your logical, conscious, critical thinking part of your mind might understand a lot, the control is still your subconscious, which is that really young part of you. So say, for example, you know, when you're like a little kid, someone makes a comment about, you know, something that you do, you'll laugh, or you're not funny, or any of those things. That could really stick with you and then impact how you then act and show up, which means you're not being authentically you.
Yeah, but I think a lot of people really struggle to be their authentic self because there's so much pushback from society about how you are supposed to be and supposed to behave. And yeah, so I think, like me and you, we are just ourselves. But it's took a long time to get to that point to where we can just be silly and just be ourselves. And also, being authentically yourself means you're putting yourself out there for criticism.
Yeah, because it's you.
When you hold yourself in and you just conform and just be how everyone wants you to behave, there's not much to criticize there, is there? But when you are yourself, if that's a bit weird or a bit crazy or whatever, then it's different, isn't it? From what is normal.
The thing is, you can spend your whole life trying to fit into a mold that you know, society has for you, or other people have for you, or your family have for you, and you're just going to be miserable because you're not being truthfully. And also, if you do that, the bars are going to keep changing.
Yeah.
You know, what's expected of you, what you should do, what you shouldn't do, all of those things are going to keep changing, and you're still not going to be happy. So I really think that actually the quicker you can get to a place where it's like, do you know what, I'm going to be me, and either you like it or you don't, that's the way it is. Because as well, like, sometimes if you do that, you can attract relationships or friends or, you know, whole like social structures that don't really like you. They like the you that you
created,
know,
the fake
you, because you thought you had to and you needed to, and actually you're not happy in that environment, and those people wouldn't support or don't support or nurture your most authentic version of you. So
what advice would you give, though? Because I think there'll probably be a lot of people out there, probably a lot of people listening, that feel like they care way too much about what their friends have to say, what their family, what their co-workers, what people on the street. So what would be the advice that you would give to them?
Drink wine. No, I'm joking. I think first of all, before worrying about, we all, I think, like you said, like, there are all times where, you know, you will worry about things. And again, that's going to depend on, like, I know for me, when it comes to like attachment styles, that I get, in relationships, I would have anxious attachment style. So it means that, you know, like my mind goes into overdrive all the time about, you know, like as soon as I'm not with somebody, do they like me? Don't they like me? What if this has happened? What if that happens? And it makes you very kind of like reactive, which pushes people away often. But it wasn't until actually quite recently, and I think this happens a lot, like for me, because stuff had been so intense for so long. Like as I start to unpack stuff, I'm able to actually see all the different parts that would lead into that chaos. And recently I was like, oh my God, I have like the anxious attachment thing, which I thought was only in romantic relationships. I actually have that with friends. Like I have it with friends. If I feel like, you know, I've upset them or I've done something wrong, I can go into a real like, they're never going to speak to me again. They're going to abandon me. I'm never going to see them again. It's like, and I had to like really get aware of that and be like, oh, whoa. And for people who don't know about attachment styles, there's 3 attachment styles: anxious, avoidant, and secure. And obviously secure is where generally in childhood you had like your needs met, not 100% of the time, but the majority of the time. And so like when you kind of attach to somebody, you feel like quite secure and balanced. Avoidant means that hopefully I get these right, you can always Google them. But avoidant is somebody who like once they start to attach to someone, they actually kind of retreat and pull away and, you know, can't communicate and don't want to communicate because they think that if I like you, that's scary. So I'm going to pull over here. And avoidants normally attract anxious, and anxious normally attract avoidance because they're the complete opposite. So anxious is someone who needs kind of constant reassurance that everything is okay and everything's going to be all right. And then they're normally attracted to avoidance, and avoidance do the complete opposite. So they're chasing the avoidant, who then gets more and more avoidant, and they're getting more and more anxious. God. So yeah.
I thought I was a secure attachment style, but I did a quiz that turns out I'm not.
What are you?
I think I'm anxious. But I thought I wasn't anxious because I'm not one of the people that's like, do you still love me? Like, which is obviously some people, I don't know why I'm making a joke out of that. Some people are like that.
Yeah.
But I'm not like that. But I think I am an anxious attachment, because I do like panic. Like if I feel like something's different or whatever.
Yeah. And I also think living in a world where we have phones makes it 10 times worse.
Oh, so much worse.
Because it's like I haven't heard from them for like an hour, I haven't heard from them 2 hours, I haven't heard from them 2 hours and 15 minutes, I haven't heard from them for 2 hours and it's just like it can be a lot, and that can make it a lot worse. But I think on this topic, and maybe you'll agree, is just my point, I guess, at talking about attachment styles is knowing yourself is the first step in, I think, becoming authentic. Because who are you?
Exactly. And it really does take a long time to figure out who you are. And like you said, the goalpost is always moving because we develop every year. You learn more, you meet people that shape your experiences, that make you into a better person. Like, honestly, like I said this, I'm sure I've said this to you before, but each year I just feel like, oh my God, I look back on the year previous and I think, I thought I was the most grown, best version of myself then. And I'm looking at that now and I'm thinking, I'm definitely the most grown and best version of myself now.
Yeah.
And it happens like that every single year. And I'm still astonished. It's like when summer comes around every year, I'm like, oh my God, the weather's nice. It's like every year I get astonished that I'm a different person.
That you're growing.
Because I think I'm great the year before.
Mm-hmm. But I think this is the whole point about like personal development, about working on yourself, about investing in yourself as a person, is it's continuous. It's a lifelong project. Like that's it. Once you start, you won't be able to just stop. Sorry, I have a cough. You're going to have to keep going.
Go on, babe. Cough. I know you want to cough. You know, it's like when they hold it in and their face goes all red and a vein starts popping out their forehead. That was the vibe you was giving.
That's what was happening. I was like, but yeah, you won't, you know, you'll have to keep going. And that's how I think you become more and more and more authentic, because you shed more and more of the layers that, you know, that might not be authentic to who you've grown to be.
Yeah.
And some of those things that perhaps have kept you safe in the past, you're like, oh, actually, I can put this down now.
Yeah.
You know, the people pleasing or the whatever it is, like I can start to put boundaries in place. Actually, no, I do feel quite secure. Because on the topic of like anxious attachment, that's something that I've like been working on for the last 6 months. And it's really it's had a massive impact, like just drawing attention to it and then, you know, starting to kind of consider where it comes from, why it's there, et cetera, in, you know, a couple of situations that I've been in recently, it just hasn't been there, and it's a whole new world.
That must be so nice.
It's really nice.
You must feel really proud of yourself.
I am really proud of myself, yeah. And I think, like, for me, these are achievements.
Yeah.
Because, you know, we talk about, I think very often we focus on achievements like 30 under 30, and it's kind of monetary and it's, you know, success and material. And all of that stuff is great. But if you haven't done the inner work, you're not going to be able to enjoy any of that anyway.
Yeah.
Or you will for like a momentary high, and then
and a lot of people say that, you know, a lot of entrepreneurs who are super successful, when they reach their most success or the highest achievement they could have dreamed of, they feel this massive crash afterwards. A lot of Olympic athletes have this. But like they go to the Olympics, they win a gold medal, and then they become really depressed afterwards. Because it's like, what comes after that?
Yeah.
And it's like the goalpost constantly.
But also something that people say a lot is like, it's the journey, not the destination, isn't it? Because it's all about, it's the getting there and got to do this, and you kind of idolize this thing. But then once you've done the thing, then what?
Being in the hustle and like the grind to get there almost feels better like than that thing. Like when you feel like the odds are against you, it almost feels better that you're working on it. And it feels like that Rocky when he's climbing up them. Adrian! When he's climbing up them steps. Wait, was he running? I don't know. I've never seen Rocky.
Okay, yeah, but he's running up the stairs
and screaming Adrian.
No, he's screaming. Was he screaming Adrian?
My dad's called Adrian, so apparently when Rocky came out, people were like, Adrian. But obviously Adrian's a woman in Rocky.
Yeah, Adrian's a woman in Rocky. But you know, he's an underdog and he goes for it and he wins. The moral of the story is,
the moral of the story is run up the stairs in Philadelphia.
Exactly. Basically, that's exactly what I was thinking. But I guess the moral of the story is that actually sometimes we get annoyed with like the journey, or it's taking too long, or why haven't I got it yet, or But then, like Emma's saying, sometimes when you do get it, you're like, oh, right. And you don't even necessarily stop to acknowledge that you've got it because you're already on to the next thing. Wowzers.
Literally that. And as well, I think it's silly to think, because this was something I thought that I realised was wrong as time went on. I thought, like, for instance, loving myself. It was this goal that I had and like something I was working towards. And then I felt like I had completed it. Completed loving myself. Oh my God, I love myself. Because like I was comfortable. I thought I loved myself. What had happened was I was comfortable with my body, which is a great step forward.
Yes.
But I hadn't completed loving myself, because loving yourself is not just like loving your body or accepting your body.
No.
There's so many other things that go into that. Like, did I respect myself when it came to relationships? There's a bunch of other things.
Yeah.
And it's like, I thought I completed it and I didn't. And then when I realized I hadn't completed it because I went through like something really traumatic that made me like feel like I lost everything within myself, like confidence wise, self-esteem wise, I realized, oh my God, not that I don't love myself, but I thought I'd completed it and I haven't. And that made me feel really sad because I told myself, oh, you've completed that. You love yourself now. And I realized something like that, something like self-love and nurturing a relationship with yourself, a positive relationship with yourself, is something that's never completed. And that's okay.
It can never be completed, because also love is an action, isn't it? It's an ongoing action. Like loving is an action. It's something that you have to actively do over and over again. And you have to love yourself when you feel like crap. You have to love yourself, whatever that looks like, on the days where you don't like yourself. You have to, love yourself when your heart is broken.
Yeah.
And I think loving yourself or loving somebody else is it's an action. It's not something you passively say, oh, I love you. It's an action. And sometimes it's hard and sometimes it's difficult.
And it's wavering.
But part of what you're saying is almost, it's funny because when you felt like, oh, shit, I haven't completed loving myself, in essence, what you were doing in that situation, which is kind of considering and weighing up all of the pros and cons and being willing to accept that actually I haven't completed it, that is loving yourself.
Yeah.
Like, I think we get it really twisted. Like, it's not supposed to feel good. Love doesn't always feel good, but it is about like, what's the best I can do for myself in this situation, and what's the best that I can learn from this situation, and how can I grow from this situation, and am I going to allow myself to just feel shit?
Yeah.
Like, that's loving yourself as well.
Yeah.
I feel shit. I'm not going to pretend. I am not going to dress it up for people. I am going to sit in my shit not literally.
I'm going to sit in my
but I'm
swamp.
gonna sit and allow this feeling to be here.
Yeah.
And allow myself to experience it, because I don't want to repress it. I want to get it out of my system. It's not about always feeling good.
I just feel like back in the day when I was younger, I thought loving myself was putting on a bikini. I'm being on holiday in a bikini. When actually, as I've got older, I realised that loving myself means going to bed early.
Yeah.
Doing my skincare routine. Like doing things that are for my benefit.
Doing your therapy, even when it's difficult. Realising that actually, oh no, there's more that I've still got to do. Oh, I need to journal about this. I need to work on this.
Choosing to put yourself first. Like that's one thing I'm really doing at the moment, because I feel like I'm going through a healing era at the moment, which we are going to do a pod about.
Yeah.
But what I'm realising at the moment is doing things that are for my benefit, not just because I want to do it. Like I might want to text a toxic person I used to speak to that made me really upset. But I'm not going to do that anymore, because I know really it's not beneficial for me in my soul, in my spirit. And that is loving yourself.
But,
not me coming out here with my arms out in a crop top.
But even if you did slip up and text that toxic person, the loving yourself is forgiving yourself and not being too harsh on yourself and understanding actually you're just a human and you're not perfect. Because guess what? Nobody is perfect. None of us are. So, you know, I think that the kind of loving yourself thing is really understanding that it's just doing the best that you can. And I think what you're talking about essentially is body confidence, right? Like that's what you're talking about. And that's a amazing thing to have and to be able to say that you've attained, you know, for all of us, especially women. We've done a whole podcast about beauty standards and how difficult that attaining that can actually be. So that's great, but you're not just a body. Like your body is essentially a vehicle that you're in, but there's so much more that makes up you. So yes, you might love your body, but all of the other stuff. Do you love all
the other parts about you that are not so aesthetically pleasing?
Like, for example, if you viewed that inner part of you as a little child, you know, like, and I don't have kids, but I watch my friends with their children, and there are definitely times where they're looking at them thinking, I hate you, you little but they love them in that moment of hating them. They love them, you understand? And they will still do what's best for them in that moment, majority of times. So I think it's like viewing that part of us. It's like, can I, rather than sitting there and being like, oh, this is what's wrong with me, and I'm such a bad person, and this is why I mess up all the time, it's my fault, and then it's like, can you allow that, you know, that small part of you that is, you know, the part of you that might make the wrong decisions or not think particularly nice thoughts about yourself, but can you just say to that part of you, like, okay, but I love you, you know, like, can you give them not grief, grace?
Yeah, I think it's amazing, really. Like when I think about how I feel about my body, I don't even think twice about it now, because I'm so comfortable with my body. And I feel like I take that for granted a lot of the time, because I've felt like that for a good few years now. And I forget that other people have really turbulent relationships, like with their body and just themselves in general. And I feel and people ask me all the time, how did you get to this point? And I think, fuck, how did I get to this point? Because I don't even think about it anymore. I don't speak negatively to myself at all about my body ever. About me as a person, maybe sometimes. But I'm just super accepting of myself. And I think that's the thing. Like we've said this before. Acceptance. It's not even about loving yourself all the time and loving how you look. It's about the acceptance. And I think because I chose to accept myself, not to be like, I love my body. Like, I know you don't like it when I do that, when I do the whole hoity-toity farty voice.
It's woo-woo, you know, it's fine. Yeah. But I hear you. I know what you mean by that. Yeah.
But the acceptance, like, because before I wouldn't even like a full body photo of me. I could never see a full body photo of me like from the side or from the whatever. And I literally could not care less now. But I think that's just because the nature of the job as well. Like I was filming hauls, like where my full body's on display. I'm getting changed. Like obviously I cut the bits out where I'm getting changed, but I'm seeing that on camera. I'm seeing authentically how my body looks, which at the time felt very uncomfortable when I first started. But I think the more you do something over and over and over, it just becomes normal. Yeah. And now I'm just looking at my body like, yeah, it's my body.
It's a body.
There's nothing bad about it. There's nothing, like, you know?
I hear you. But I do think, you know, when you said people say like, how did you get there? And you're like, oh, I don't know how I got there. I think, you know, we spoke about this with Mojo as well. It's, you have to reach a place where you're like, I've had enough.
Yeah.
And I want things to change. And I am going to find a way to change, because there is no magic pill. No one can do it for you. There isn't going to be one book that you read, one video you watch, one podcast you listen to, one thing that changes everything for you. It's going to be a consistent, committed effort to change. Like you're saying, you've been like this for years now, but it took you years to get to that point.
Yeah.
I've been doing, like, I guess my turnaround point was after my sister died. I was just like, my life is a chaotic mess. It cannot stay like this. I refuse to live like another 20 years of my life like this. So how am I going to change it? And that, my sister died when I was 20, when I was 28. Was I 28? Yeah, I was 28. And so I'm 40. So it's 12 years of self-help books, spiritual seminars, therapy, coaching, like, because I'm my biggest investment. So I will put money into that stuff. And, you know, I will do that work because it has made my life more than 1,000,000 times better. Like, I can't even tell you like who I am now versus who I was at the start of that journey. Sometimes I'm like, what, is that the same person? Like, is it the same lifetime? It is, but sometimes it doesn't feel like it.
Yeah.
Because I didn't feel like I do now.
Yeah. And I think about that. I must see it as a past life, like that version of myself that hated myself. And it's so crazy, like thinking about where you came from to where you are now and how much has changed. And that's just proof to anyone that wants to do it that they can do it. It's literally all within your means. It's all within your grasp. All it takes is you deciding that I don't want to be like this anymore.
Yeah. And it isn't a quick fix either. Don't think, oh, I'm going to do this one thing, or I'm going to go to therapy and I'll never need to go to therapy again. I've probably been in my lifetime to about 4 or 5 different therapists. And I would, you know, the more experience I had with therapy, the more I'd be like, I would send them lengthy emails about what I was experiencing, what I wanted to work on, how I wanted to work. And did they think they could facilitate that?
Yeah.
Like, it's like a relationship. It's like a partnership. Are you the right partner to help me through this? And yeah, and I choose different people at different times who I think are the right people for me to work with. I'm working with a coach right now. Shout out Jade. Thanks. But yeah, there's just, you know, certain people at certain times you're like, I need that person's help, or I feel like this at this point in my journey, I need some support around this. And I think, again, like when we're talking about being our authentic selves, it's about really tuning into, what do you need to work on? Like, what would help you? Do you need to be more self-confident? Do you need to believe in your abilities more? Is it like, perhaps like Emma, you're really confident with your body, but within your career, you are, you know, you feel like you don't deserve what you want, or that you're not capable, or you're not good enough, or whatever. Are you going to allow those beliefs to control how you live the rest of your life and what the outcome of this one lifetime in this embodiment is? Or are you going to go and do something about it? Even if it takes you 5 or 10 years, isn't that better than laying on your deathbed thinking,
I wish. Shoulda, woulda, coulda.
last words of a fool.
No, but it's the truth. There was something I wanted to say and it's skedaddled out my brain. Maybe
Because I was going on a rant.
No, it's okay.
On a rant. When it comes to, you know, being your most authentic self, do you think that, like, do you ever catch yourself now and you're like, why have I done that? Or like, you know, like kind of falling back into any old patterns sometimes?
All the time.
Yeah.
All the time. There's tons of things that I do that I think, why are you doing that? And the thing that I wanted to say to you has come back.
Go on.
And it relates to this. I think because we live in such a busy world, as in work, friends, going out, blah, blah, blah. Not only that, but our phones, like, you can distract yourself until the end of time. You do not have to sit and be alone with your thoughts ever. You can go on TikTok, you can go on YouTube, you can watch TV, you can see your friends, you can do all these things and you can just not be alone. And I think one of the things that I really struggle with, and something that I think a lot of other people will struggle with, is not actually knowing how you feel. So when someone says, how do you feel? I'm like, I don't know. Because you're not sat alone with yourself enough to actually figure out how you feel. Or like, say something happens to you and you can't seem to put your thoughts in order to make it make sense and figure out how you feel and why you feel that way. So I think something that is actually really beneficial, that I do not do enough, that I want to start doing, that I know will be beneficial for me, is journaling or just writing down how you feel. Because then at least you can have your thoughts and write them onto paper and make sense of it, because there's so many distractions.
Oh my God. Journaling has been a game changer for me.
I don't do it enough and I don't know why. Like, I know it will be good for me and I don't do it. Maybe it's some sort of subconscious fear.
I get myself, I just did a little TikTok about it because I buy myself personalized journals. And
Where'd you get them? Papier?
Yeah. And so they're all like the same like size, but they'll just have different covers and they'll be personalized. And they, like at the moment, all of my journals, I just ordered 2 new ones. They have like my name on, and then it says trust and acceptance, because they're the 2 things that I'm really working on at the moment. It's trust, and not trusting people, but trusting that everything is going to work out, and acceptance of what has already happened in my life and being able to move on from that. And I, this kind of idea of being our most authentic selves, like, it is wild to me. And I know that you've spoken about this when I think you were talking about it in your story, and you were talking about, like you'd been feeling really good because you thought, again, like you completed like a lesson or something. And then actually you realize, no, I'm just like an onion. That was just one layer off. And now it's the same thing, but it's now at a deeper level. And I'm getting more to the core of, what that thing is. And I think like,
it's scary,
right? It is scary. It is. But that's with getting closer to the core of things. Again, like some other stuff, has come up for me recently. I experienced a miscarriage, which we're going to talk about on the healing episode more. But it brought up a lot of stuff for me that I thought I'd completed, lessons that I thought I'd completed, things that I thought weren't impacting me anymore. But in a way, I'm like, I'm so glad. Not that happened because obviously I really wanted to have a baby. But what I am glad at is that it's brought up those things for me, and that I am wise enough not to distract myself, not to hide from them, not to run away from them, but to actually sit with them to get the help that I needed. So I went to my therapist and was like, I need to speak to you. Then I'm doing this coaching. I did so much journaling. I even like recorded some little videos and stuff at the time, because I was like, this is what I have to now work on and overcome.
But you know what? That going through that horrible hardship and working through it instead of distracting yourself is actually so much more progressive and better for your healing in the long run.
Yeah.
Because you could have distracted yourself and been like, oh, I don't even care. I didn't even want a baby, or whatever it could be in your life. But down the line, it will come back and bite you. And that's literally, and I've experienced that. Oh, I'm just smacking the microphone. I've experienced that in my own way, like pretending like everything's okay when it's not.
Yeah.
And because it just comes back and bites you.
But that's not
harder.
authentic. And I do think like we live in a world that's like where people are happy to accept us at our best, right? And people are happy to see us at our best. And social media is full of the highlight reel, and people living their best life, and people being happy, and people getting married, and people having babies, and people, doing this, and people looking good, and people wearing their favorite outfits, and people on holiday. But that's not authentically anyone's life. It's not, guys. There are ups and downs in everybody's life. And I feel like that's why I did like a big post about the miscarriage, because I was just like, I know that 1 in 5 early pregnancies ends in miscarriage. That's a lot of people experiencing miscarriage. And so it's something that, and even like my work, I was like, I'm going to tell my boss, because I'm not going to lie and say I've got some mystery illness.
Yeah.
I'm not going to pretend that this didn't happen to me. I'm going to tell them. And my bosses, thank you, at BBC were really good.
It's funny how that's something like that is still kind of taboo. But I feel like it's taboo because
so many reasons.
You don't want to tell someone that that's happened to you, because you might make them feel uncomfortable.
Yeah, you might make them feel uncomfortable. Also, this is the first time I've ever experienced that, and I had no appreciation for like how it would make me feel.
Yeah.
But things like, as somebody, like you've been talking about the fact that you love and appreciate your body, as someone who's had that relationship with my body for years, I had a moment where I was like, you've let me down. Like, you have let me down. And it didn't, like, none of this stuff lasted very long. But I really was like, I'm really mad at you.
Yeah.
Like, how could you let me down? Like, what the fuck? So there's that kind of side of things. It's shame inducing as well. Like I failed. My body failed me. I failed me. Like, what did I do wrong? What could I have done differently? It's probably nothing to do with any of that.
No, it isn't.
And sometimes it's like, you know, one of my friends said to me, actually, there could be, you know, normally it's cell abnormalities, which means there will be something, you know, wrong. So your body's doing you a favor because actually that pregnancy is flawed, essentially.
Yeah.
But still, the emotions that come from it are just like, oh my God.
And when it's something as personal as that was between you and you, it's not like you breaking up with a partner or whatever.
Yeah.
And so I can understand why you'd have them feelings, but you know that it's nothing.
No,
to do with you.
but what I'm saying is, and I know objectively, I know that, but that's what I mean.
But your brain.
Yes. And your emotions and the thoughts that come. And this is what self-awareness is being able to watch and see those thoughts and to be able to be aware that they're not real and they're not the whole truth.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean that you can't be in that, and you have to feel and express those emotions. You can put it off. You can put it off. Like I was speaking to somebody else, and it's mad that she didn't know what had happened with me, and she posted something on her story, and I replied to it, and she kind of said to me that she, you know, had a miscarriage, but she's so busy with everything that it happened maybe a year ago, and she still hasn't dealt with it.
Yeah.
She's refusing to deal with it.
Yeah.
And I just said to her, look, you know, that's obviously it's your choice and it's up to you, but you're just putting off the inevitable, and it's going to get worse.
Because the pain's going to hit you at some point.
And you're operating at a much higher level than you would, because you're so fiercely avoiding experiencing this emotion because you know it's going to floor you. And she honestly feels like right now in her life she doesn't have time and I'm like, this is authenticity, you know, like fuck it.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be detrimental to you further down the line, and there is nothing more important than being like, I need to look after myself. Like, this hurts. I want to stop. This hurts.
Authenticity is vulnerability.
Yeah. Through and through.
Time. And also touching on what you're saying about like your thoughts and this, that and the other. I think one thing that a lot of people don't realize is thoughts are not facts. Just because you have a thought about yourself, you might have a thought that no one likes you. Does it mean no one likes you? No, it does not.
It doesn't. But, you know, try and tell your mind that when that's something that you believe, until you understand that you have the power of critical thought. And also until you understand that you have the power to watch your thoughts and that you are not them.
Yeah, that's the one. And that's, I know people always talk about like wellness stuff and journaling and meditation and all that, but that's one thing about meditation, isn't it? That like you observe your thoughts, that you are not your thoughts. I think that's a beautiful thing.
It is. Of course it is. And also sometimes I try and explain it to people is like you can't be your thoughts because, you know, like you see your thoughts or you hear your thoughts depending on how you're. Oh, lovely.
We're just sharing a bit of wine here, guys.
Just topping up our wine for anyone listening. You know, with your thoughts, it's like if I say to you, there's a camera over there or there's a microphone here or whatever, right? You have to exist to be able to see that microphone, right? To be able to acknowledge it exists, right? So if you can hear your thoughts in your head, who is the one that hears them?
You.
Right. So you can't be your thought, can you? Because there has to be a subject observing the object.
Yeah. I get it.
And you are the subject, not the object, and the object is the thoughts. But because we've never been taught that, we just listen to our thoughts as if
and gospel.
It is not true.
Definitely not true.
And if you stop and question your thoughts, like if you were to, for example, have the thought that no one likes me, for example, and you believe that, and then when you believe it impacts how you behave, what you do, like all of that stuff, and then you were to stop and say, no one likes me, is it true? And there's an incredible lady called Byron Katie, and she has a whole thing called The Work. It's self-inquiry, written meditation, and it's just about questioning our thoughts. I discovered her book shortly after my sister died. I worked with someone here in the UK who did like her process of the work, and then I went to a 10-day school for the work in LA with her in person, and like 700 other people from all over the world. Incredible experience.
I was doing something like that recently, like shadow work.
Yeah. But if you ask, is it true? Right. So it's not true because you know someone who likes you.
Yeah.
If it's your best friend, your little brother, your cousin, your uncle, your mum. So it can't be true that no one likes you. Yet you believing that thought makes you act a certain way around people. And because,
sorry, go on.
But that's the thought that I had, and it ended up being a self-fulfilling prophecy because the way I acted, because I believed no one liked me, made no one like me.
Literally. Me and my PT the other day were talking about this. I've never watched this film, but he was talking about this film with Amy Schumer where like she falls and bumps her head or something. And before she thinks she's really ugly and fat and disgusting, then she goes and bumps her head and thinks she is the most beautiful person on earth. But nothing has changed physically. But because she is behaving differently towards herself, people then start treating her differently.
Yeah.
And that's the thing about like confidence. If you're confident in you, other people are going to be confident in you. And I feel like this is like a leadership thing as well, like in business.
Yeah.
When you have authority or when you speak with conviction, people believe you and people trust you.
Mm-hmm.
So if I now say, I don't give a I love myself, I'm beautiful, people start thinking, like they might think I'm beautiful anyway, but say even if they didn't think I was beautiful or they didn't like fat people or whatever it is, they might think, because I have such conviction in how I feel about myself, it convinces other people to do the same.
Yeah.
Is that not really weird? Like people, behavioural
But
patterns.
it kind of, it makes sense as well. Like to me, it makes sense because I've seen it, how it is in my life.
Yeah.
And, I've seen how, my body language, everything has changed because I have, managed to kind of dampen. And sometimes that belief kicks up and it flares up and I'll be like, oh, shit. Like I forgot, I'm feeling like that again. Like I'm in a certain situation. So it is about awareness. And like I said right at the start of this, those subconscious programs, those ingrained beliefs, the ones that we have from early childhood, they're well-trodden neural pathways, so they will keep popping up. But the self-awareness is what helps you alter your behavior in the moment to make sure that you can keep growing from it. So before we get on to Saucy Secrets, just to wrap up being your most authentic self.
We
For
did
people
quite a
listening,
bit of a tangent there.
Well, I think all of it's about...
It all makes sense.
Yeah. And it's all about being your most authentic self is essentially, I think, being your most authentic self is being willing to continually work on yourself and understand that your authentic self will keep changing.
And you're ever changing.
But what would be your one piece of advice for people listening right now, if they're right at the start of their journey of feeling like, I've reached that point where I'm just, maybe my thoughts and beliefs that I have about myself are kind of crippling me in a way or holding me back or I'm feeling stuck or whatever. What would be your first thing?
I think the main thing is you have to stop speaking negatively to yourself. You can't change how other people feel about you, but you can change how you feel about yourself. And you have to stop beating yourself up about whatever it is you don't like about yourself or whatever character flaw you think you have. There's a time and a place for woe is me, I hate myself. And there's a time and a place for what are we going to do about that?
Exactly.
So what are we going to do about that if I hate myself? If I hate, whatever it is about yourself, what are we going to do to change that? You can only live in that like misery for so long before it becomes exhausting.
Yeah.
And you got to do something about it.
Yeah.
And I feel like some people love that. Some people, they claim they don't like that misery, but they
stuck to
wallow
it.
in that misery for years and years and years. And I see it in my own family.
Yeah, me too.
And I think, so what are we going to do about it?
But some people will never do anything about it. And that's fine. If that's your path and that's your journey, that's okay. But if you do want to do something about it, so you're saying the first thing to do is recognize, like we spoke about self-awareness, what your thoughts are.
Yeah.
And then start to get really aware, because you can't change them unless you know what they are. Yeah. You might be like, oh, I'm always feeling bad. But what are the thoughts you're thinking that are making you feel that way?
And it's okay to be at rock bottom. I have a big problem with like appearing weak or appearing not okay or whatever. That's my personal problem. And I think it's okay to be at the beginning of something and to feel like the only way from here is up. There's great strength and power in that. Yeah. Because the only way is up. Mm-hmm. So you're only going to get better and feel better about yourself. And even if like you don't reach the eventuality that you want to reach, you will have come further than you would have had you just stayed there.
You will reach it, but by the time you reach it, you'll have a new eventuality that you want to reach. Because I think that's just how we work as humans. And I think...
And all you have to do is be yourself.
That's it.
And isn't that beautiful?
It's beautiful. It's just not that easy. And I think it takes work. Easy. But I think your advice is great. I think that kind of deciding and making a commitment that I'm going to recognize what my thoughts are, and the ones that don't support me and aren't aligned with who I want to be, I'm going to get rid of them. I also think, I think my advice would be like getting to know yourself, and journaling can really help with that, like tuning into yourself. Exactly what you're saying, but I guess sometimes we have to step away from the distractions and think, no, tonight I'm going to ask myself, how do I feel? Yeah. Why do I feel like that? What is it I'm believing that makes me feel like that? Why do I believe that? Like, ask yourself all of those kind of questions and really start to like get to know yourself, like interview yourself on paper. Because if you try and do it in your head, watch how your mind will suddenly start thinking about what you're going to have for dinner or what's on your shopping list.
And your mind will play tricks on you even when you're asking them questions. I'll ask myself them questions and I'm like, oh, I don't know. My brain's like, I don't know. And it's like, yes, you do. You're hiding behind something.
But that's exactly why Byron Katie says you have to write it down.
Yeah.
Because then your mind can't do any of that sneaky shit.
To like get one-on-one with your brain and your emotions and how you feel.
Yeah.
Because I do that to myself all the time. I'd be like, so why do you behave like that? And I'd be like, I don't know. It's like, yes, you do know, babe. It's just hidden behind all the subconscious, all the shit that you've put in front of it. So let's move it to the side. Be willing to.
And if you can, I would say get some help as well. Like, if you're really ready to do it, even if it's, do you know what? For the first time in my life, I'm going to tell my best friend how I actually feel or what's actually been going on. Yeah. Or, you know, some of the things that I actually think about myself. And I think like we were talking about vulnerability, but acknowledging it sometimes can really help with authenticity.
Amazing.
And breathe.
Breath of fresh air.
So we're going to go from that kind of quite serious topic.
That was a serious topic. Important though.
Saucy.
So going from that to the saucy secrets.
They're secrets and they're saucy. Yeah. Whoa.
Amazing. So what's the Clara's doing the saucy secrets this week. It's not me anymore. Clara baby's doing the saucy secrets.
Oh my God, this is going to be hilarious. Okay, so these are from my...
Oh my God, I can't wait for my reactions. You're reading them to me. I'm so excited. So what was the question before you started?
The question was weirdest section. So I asked the audience, what have been your weirdest sexual experiences? And they have not disappointed. Thank you ever so much, guys. I love you and appreciate you. So weirdest sexual experience.
This is about to get freaky real quick. I can just tell.
Being fingered and him saying, is that your clit? No, mate, that's my pelvis.
No. No. How are men still getting confused about this in 2023? How are we still getting confused between the thigh crease and the clitoris?
The pelvis. Like that's
pelvis.
Up here.
What do you mean?
That's your bone.
Your pubis.
Yeah.
Mons pubis.
Yes. Yes.
The food.
I'm guessing the bone.
The fat bit.
Yeah.
The muffin.
Yeah.
Off.
I mean, I would just be like, no, get off me.
Please leave.
Look at a diagram of a vulva. Look at the diagram.
They get confused because they don't all look the same, but guess what? They might be different width or
but they're
length
in the same
whatever,
order.
Whatever.
It's in the same...
Literally, the first thing is the clit.
Basically. And they're different sizes and different shapes, but it's right there.
It's right there. Open your eyes. And if you're confused, this is what I don't understand, right? If you're confused, why don't you go down there and take a look?
Go down there and take a look. Or
Spread it open. Okay, I've got my logistics together.
Yeah.
Let's get in.
Let's do this. Or you could, you know, the person you're with.
Ask
them. Ask them. Or you could get them to like say, where do you want me to touch you? And they can show you.
Literally.
No, none of this guesswork. Look at...
Oh, I've just remembered something. What? Something really bad has happened to me since I've seen you. Jesus Christ. This happened to me.
Yeah.
Recently. Oh, Clara, I've got a story for you. So, recently, so I went out on that out with my friend. She meets this guy. I'm calling him John Legend because he looked like John Legend. Them two are in love, snogging away. His friend over here, what was his name? In fact, I'm not going to say his name because he was Portuguese, so he had like a nice little Portuguese name. Bring him home. Well, no, we all go home. So it was me and my friend, John Legend
and
my
Portuguese
guy,
man. Nando's.
And their other, no. What was his name? It was like Paolo or something like that. Sing to me, Paolo. Anyway, so I can't believe I just said his name. Anyway, so we come back to mine. John Legend, my friend, Paolo, me, and their other friend, forgot his name. We're all chilling.
Where's this going?
I just said his name and I'm going to out him. Okay, it doesn't matter. Actually, I don't think Paolo's his name. So we come back to mine.
Just beep his name.
We come back to mine. And so my friends with John Legend, snogging. And then I'm with Paolo. And I'm thinking, saucy. Anyway, we got to the bedroom and I wasn't feeling it. Like, I wasn't feeling it already. But I was like, we can have a cuddle. That'd be cute. Whatever. Anyway, he like gets on me and starts like, fair enough, we was like kissing a little bit. But when we kissed him, all I could taste was like cigarettes on his breath. Like, it was just not a good experience for me. And then he like tried to like start touching me. Bro, the boy, he could not find my clitoris. Could not find my clitoris.
Poking around.
And the thing is, I kept moving his hand. So I kept moving his hand to my clit for him to rub it. And he kept veering off to the left. And
just on skin.
And bro, Clara, I gave him like, I am not joking when I say this, I must have moved his hand 5 times.
Did you just say in the end, did you say
yes, I did. So I said, and he gets on top of me and I said, no, I don't want to do this. And I felt bad. Now, I know I shouldn't feel bad because it's my choice if I want to do something with someone. But why did I feel bad?
But you're working on yourself and it's a work in progress. And that's probably like an old mindset.
It is. But either way, I was like, no, don't want to do this.
Don't rub
And
the
it's like,
skin.
I gave you like 5 chances.
And you still messed it up.
And I should have been known.
The whole time you were telling that, I'd already read the next thing and all I could think about was the next thing. So I was listening to you, but the next one is, I don't know if I can say this.
Oh no, what is it? You're going to have to say it now.
This is from a man.
Right.
After anal, sweet corn under my foreskin.
Clara. You didn't just say that. You didn't just say that.
I just said it.
Sweet corn under my foreskin.
After having anal with someone.
That is petrifying. That's petrifying.
I've got a cramp in my inner thigh.
That's petrifying.
I mean, it could happen to the best of us.
It could, and you know what? It's no one's fault.
Sweet corn doesn't digest.
Terrifying.
Yeah. So we enjoyed that one.
How are you supposed to like? Oh God, no.
Right. Right, here we go. This one. He had a thing for licking my armpits when they were hairy. Only when they were hairy.
What? I don't want to kink shame, but that's a far out one.
The thing is, though, if that's their kink, don't you have to find it kind of kinky too? Otherwise, it could be a turn off for you. Like, oh yeah, just lick. Because my nipples. Fair enough. I've had like a mastectomy and a boob job and all kinds of different things over the years, but even before that, my nipples are not particularly sensitive.
Yeah.
And like guys like to suck nipples and they, it's like a...
Takes them back to childhood. Goo goo gaga.
Baby, that's what it is. But I now, because sometimes it actually hurts me.
I love that.
It hurts though. Yeah, but it hurts me. So I will tell people that. And
they still do it anyway.
No, I mean, they still a little bit, but they kind of know, if I've told people now, they know. But at the same time, it's like, it's not a turn on for me and it never has been. So, it might be for you, but while you're doing it, I'm like...
Do you suck boy nipples?
What?
Do you suck boy nipples?
Yeah.
They love that shit.
Do, yeah.
They pretend like they don't like it, but they love it.
No, but for some guys, it's really sensitive, isn't it? But hairy armpits, not for me. So like a friend of mine who is a lesbian has written, when a woman deep throats my strap, I can't feel it, suck the clit instead.
No, but you know what it is? Some girls are so attractive, some masculine girls are so attractive that if they told me to suck the strap, I'd do it.
If they told you to.
They said suck the strap, I'd do it. No hesitation. Because they're so peng.
Yeah, but they told you to. She's saying, like, she is a masculine lesbian and she's saying, like, that they're just doing it. And then, but she's like,
no.
It's not
given,
for me.
It's given too much,
like,
I can't figure out the
what
words.
men would like.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's given masculine.
What men would like.
Just start sucking on the clit.
This one is wild. Right, let's try it. This is really bad. A guy I met on Field invited me to his flat. Opened the door and he was standing in the hall with his pants around his ankles.
Field is a crazy place.
It was funny as and I didn't really know what to do. So I sort of squatted and sucked his dick, but I kept laughing with his dick in my mouth. I think afterwards I asked if he was autistic and he got really annoyed. Needless to say, I never saw him again.
Why is he standing? Right, first of all, just because we are on a casual sex app and we're going to meet up to have sex doesn't mean that I can open the door to meet you for the first time and your dick's hanging out. Can we not have hello, how are you, glass of wine, chill on the sofa? You ain't going to nice me up before you start getting your dick out in front of me.
I think it's the idea of she's trying to actually
Like
squat.
with her coat on.
But not even getting on her knees. She just squatted down.
No, that's just
to try and reach.
I tell you what, I once was seeing this guy. No, I was meeting up with this guy.
Yeah.
And he was at this hotel or whatever. Anyway, he told me to come to link him at the hotel. Went to the hotel. I literally had just walked through the door. I had my coat on, my bag on, my shoes on, everything on. Walked through the door. And we like had a hug. Hi, how are you? Like I knew him. And then he pushed me over the sofa, pulled my pants on and started eating me out. I still had my shoes and my coat on and my handbag.
Did you enjoy that? Not really.
Not really. Because I want to, like, it's all happening so fast.
Yeah.
Like, give me some time.
I want to feel relaxed and comfortable.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
It was just a bit wild.
This one's a lot. Right. When he thought it was sexy to lick my face and ended up removing my eyebrow.
And surely, is that not going to be a little bit salty? Like, we sweat through the day.
Yeah. Some people like that, you know.
A little bit of salt.
Yeah. I've heard guys say that they like going down on women like once they've been to the gym and all of that kind of stuff. So
I've heard this. I feel like I've got a story for everything. I'm not going to tell another story, but
you got a story for that as well.
I got one for them ones too.
I don't think you've got one for this one. Having sex with my boyfriend, and then he asks, "Can we get my mum involved?"
Whoa, 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 whoa. What do you mean?
But then it says ended. What? And then it says ended to the. I don't know. That's how it ends.
Let me see it. I need to see it.
I think she means she ended the relationship.
Ended 2 days later.
Oh, ended 2 days later. Okay.
It took you 2 days to finish a man after he said he wanted to f*** his mum.
Well, we wanted to get his mum involved, yeah. I mean,
what
wild.
does that mean? No, that's terrifying. That's terrifying. That can't be real, Clara. Please tell me that's not real.
I don't know. I don't know what that's about, but it's very, very worrying.
Is incest like what we're into now? Because that's vile.
It's not what I'm into.
That's not what I'm into.
Speak for yourself, Emma. I'm joking. Right, ready for this one?
Yeah.
I had sex the first time since having my son. I'm a single mum. And squirted breast milk in the poor man's face. Some guys would love that.
They would.
Have you seen that couple that go viral?
Mummy milkers.
Have you seen that couple that have gone viral where she breastfeeds her man?
Oh.
And she said it's brought them closer.
Oh. I would try breast milk though. Not fresh from a tea.
No, squirted into a cup.
Yeah.
You will drink a cow's breast milk, but you wouldn't drink a human's breast milk. That's weird if you wouldn't. Yeah. If you would drink cows, but not a woman.
Not fresh from the teat though, because that just feels a bit strange.
Yeah.
That's for the baby.
But like breast milk ice cream or whatever. They make that.
Do they?
Yeah.
My parents make ice cream, you know.
Do they?
I should get on to... My sister-in-law just had a baby.
Perfect. Let us know.
Cool.
Next podcast.
What's going to happen?
Someone said, I'm not sure what people would class as weird. I'm a swinger sex club goer, so most things are pretty normal.
Have you been to a sex club?
No.
I think I would go, but I wouldn't want to do... Like, I would go with my partner just to observe. I don't know if I would want to be watched. I would watch other people.
Oh, thing is, I've said this before. I'm going to say it again.
Yep.
The problem for me would be in that scenario, I don't think that I would want to have like group sex, so I wouldn't want anyone else involved.
Yeah.
B, I think being in that scenario could make me feel weird.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I just kicked. It's empty. Don't worry. I'm sorry. It's empty. It's because my feet are just fidgeting.
She's just kicking the wine bottle over.
I'm trying to pick it. I'm leaving it on the floor.
Just leave it on the floor. I think that being in that scenario could make me feel really anxious, so I wouldn't feel relaxed enough to be horny.
No, I get
and
you.
B, if I see people having sex that I do not find attractive, physically attractive, it is an instant turn off for me. And there would be too much of that happening. And so it would, I think I'd really be like that, like stiff up and then have to get out.
Overstimulated.
Too much.
I think I could be a little bit overstimulated. I'd be anxious thinking like, not that I'm I'd be anxious that someone might recognize me.
Yeah.
That's probably why I won't do it.
Yeah.
Not that I'm
Beyonce, you Beyonce.
But yeah.
One final one.
Okay, go.
One of these is definitely is screaming fetish to me.
Oh no.
No fetishization.
Okay.
But so we've got slap my ass so hard I nearly flew off the bed. Wow.
That could be nice.
I mean, that could be cool if that's your thing. And then the one that's fetishization is someone I slept with once wanted me to pretend to get her pregnant with a mixed baby.
Oh no. I don't like that. I don't like that.
Not okay. There's a really good book that you should probably have handed to that lady.
What's it called?
And it's called The Problem with My Normal Sized Penis.
Oh.
And it's by a guy called Omi Gola, and he's an actor, and he's written a new book as well called The Making of a Man. But The Problem with My Normal Sized Penis is about his experiences as a black man with kind of fetishization and other people's kind of like how they perceive black men from lots of different perspectives. And some of the things that have been said to him when I was reading the book, I was like, oh my God, this is wild. Like, it's wild. So wild. I can
see it though. And I can see how like white women would not think it's an issue, even though it is.
I was shocked. I'm going to be honest. I was shocked. I was like, I didn't think people still thought like that. Obviously, I was naive to it, but like wild shit. So, The Problem with My Normal Sized Penis. Read that book, and I think like there's having preferences, but there's also like fetishizing. So I can never say the word. Fetishizing people.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's icky.
It's like I was watching a podcast recently with two girls on TikTok. One's called Faith and one's called Finita. And they were talking about like the guys that make a lot of content around loving big women are usually the ones that are like actually setting us backwards because you're over-sexualizing and fetishizing our bodies when we're just the same as anyone else.
Yeah.
We exist in a bigger body.
Yeah.
And it just contributes to the problems of over-sexualizing a certain genre of people.
Yeah. Or a certain race of people or a certain... And yeah, all humans are much more than sexual objects. I mean, like, it's a tiny part of who you are.
How black men are over-sexualized majorly.
But I mean, I think that's something that even if you go back to like obviously the transatlantic slave trade, it kind of starts from there as well, apparently. Like, yeah, with like white women's fantasies and, you know, how black men were portrayed and et cetera, et cetera. So it's, you know, it's something that I guess is part of racism as we know it. And yeah, it's still clearly very prevalent today, as we just saw in that.
And you see it in like, you see it in porn as well.
Yeah. Like the categories, et cetera, who people get paired up with, like all of that kind of stuff. Yeah, I hear it. On that note, we've come to the end.
We're at the end of another episode.
Well done, everybody.
Thanks for sticking with us.
Love ya.
So
don't forget to leave us a review. We should say
reviews.
This at the start because apparently most people only listen to 17 minutes of the podcast.
They do.
So if you're still listening at this point,
you're a real one.
Comment in the comments or in the review. Full-time baby.
Full-time baby.
Yeah, no, not like that.
Full-time baby.
No, like
comment. Can we get my mum involved?
Comment. Can we get my mum involved? Perfect. That's it. Just a review, a 5-star review saying, "Can we get my mum involved?" would be great. If someone can make that happen, I will love you forever.
No, definitely leave us a review. We would love any reviews that you have, any feedback you have, any constructive criticism, any love, whatever it is.
And if you want to share a saucy secret or a dilemma, please do share it because it's content for the pod.
Yeah.
It's always, what's the right word? Anonymous.
It's always anonymous. We're never going to say your name. So hit us in the DMs at mumtoldmepod. Follow us on TikTok as well. We're trying to get our TikTok
Mum Told Me Pod.
Followers up.
YouTube, Mum Told Me Pod.
YouTube and on at Mum Told Me Pod. Or you can email us on mumtoldmepod@gmail.com if you want to be real anonymous.
Well done.
And if you want to send in your dilemmas, because we're going to be doing, not the nudes.
No.
Not unwarranted, please. If you want to send in your dilemmas, because we are going to be doing more dilemmas episodes, then you can send us a voice note on Instagram. Or if you want to be anonymous, then send it on email. I don't know. We're never going to say your names. Okay.
We've completed it.
Smashed it, girl.
We'll be back with another episode real soon.
Okay. Love you all.
Bye.
Bye.